Right, so obviously, after last time, you guys absolutely, unequivocally, absolutely, yeah, I can't lie, you hated my livery ranking, but obviously, as I am a genius at art grading, let's rank the logos. Now, obviously, not all teams will have a logo, but we have got the ones that do in a nice little tier list. So we've got top tier, these are the logos that are just glorious. Very good, these are the liveries, these are the logos that might have one or two details that aren't quite there, that could push them into that next level, but very good. GIBE, which stands for great idea but a bad execution. Lazy is just ones that I think don't have any effort put into it. Eye bleach are ones that are just terrible. Let's start off with Advate, and that goes in the lazy bit. They literally just stuck, right, their team name on a black background with yellow text. Let's start off. Next up, let's move on to Drake. Now, Drake, yeah, I mean, what can I say? What can I see? This goes in here, right? Because I get the Drake colors, but like, it's a bad execution. Like, the colors are all over the place. This is meant to be a car, but it actually just ends up looking like just too like. I'm not even sure what that's meant to be. Like, it's meant to represent a car, and it doesn't really look like a car. And I mean, I wouldn't say it's eye bleach. There's at least effort put into it, but no, it's just fucking horrible, isn't it? Next up, Esther. Now, yeah, I can't lie. This is pretty lazy, to be honest. Got the name. I mean, to be fair, there is some effort put in with whatever the hell these two are meant to be, but yeah, it's pretty lazy. I'll put it over Advay though, because at least they haven't just wrote text. Next up, we move on to the next ITCL team in this list, Flatland. When you see what's wrong with it, you won't be able to unsee it. There, it overlaps. So just for that alone, I'm putting it here, and I'm putting it above Drake. Next up, we move on to Ironside. Now, of course, the Viking team go Burr. And I'm actually a huge fan of this one. I'm not really sure what they did with the Ironside. Like, why is that got, like, black on it? But the motorsports is clean. You've got the Viking ship, the Norwegian flag is Norwegian. You've got a year. You've got an identity. It builds into the livery that they have, of course. From season 2 and season 3, of course. Now they've changed it, I think. But it works. It's very good. I changed the text. I changed the text of the Ironside. It doesn't really fit in with the rest of it, given how the rest of it is like this beige color. Or you could have at least made it in like light red to represent Norway. But other than that, very good. And as I mentioned, that's the tier for those that lack one or two details. Next up, we move on to Cosworks, who have come out with this design. And yeah, I can't lie, I am mixed about this one. Apparently, this is meant to be an eagle, but I see a rooster. They've got the nice text here, which is fine, although I'm not really sure why they've used a beige colour for the name, given I don't think they've ever used beige at all. They've gone for red and yellow this year, and last year they were using light blue. This is supposed to be an eagle, but it ends up looking more like a rooster, especially with that there and the 3 stars here. I'm not sure what the 3 stars is all about either. It just feels like they kind of put together a logo that's good, but has nothing to do with the team. It's a good idea, but it's a horrible execution. But at least it doesn't give me mild OCD, so I'll put it ahead of Flatland. Next up, we move on to Lava, who have come out with this design. Now, I can't lie, this doesn't work. The colours, it's bad. Is this meant to be lava? Why does it look like the Statue of Liberty? What the hell is that meant to be? I mean, it's just dread. It's a good idea, but a bad execution. In fact, you know what? It goes nicely. Next up, we move on to one of the ITCL teams, Liberté. You'll come off have a French identity. You've got the nice rooster, the national bird of France. The only thing I'd say really let it down, to be honest, is. But I'm looking at it now. I'm trying to see if there is anything wrong. But to be honest, it's a good logo. To be honest, my only issue is it's a bit too basic. As in, you've kind of just put the text and the logo, and to be honest, without the legs, it does kind of look like a swan. But it's good. It's very good. I don't see any faults with it, so I have to put it. But I don't really see any major faults with it. It's just a bit too simplistic, so it goes in very good. Next up, we move on to Lycanthrope, and there is one thing I would change about this. I like the wolf, but I don't know why the wolf. In fact, there's 2 things now. In fact, 3 things. So this year, obviously, Lycanthrope have gone with a yellow and a grey design. So I'm not sure why they've used yellow and red, especially when last year I think they were using green. So I'm really not sure why they've gone with red. If I was them, I would have changed the wolf to grey, kept this as the yellow, and made these two yellow, and just make the wolf grey. Also, this wolf's head being like that kind of loses it, but it's good. Do I put it in very good or a good idea or a bad execution? It's a good live. I like these three. It's like still a good logo comparison to what the team is. So I'll put it here, but you could easily put it in either of these. Next up, we move on to Platinum. And at first, you might be thinking, oh, this is surely top tier. There's no way. I don't know why they've put a fucking slogan, though. That is the only thing that lets this thing down. Also, this G is kind of having a stroke, but I'm assuming that's to do with the, I'm assuming that obviously is to do with the font they used. But it's very good. The only thing I changed is I'd remove that slogan. Having text like that on a logo doesn't work, but it's definitely better. It's definitely up there. Next up, we move on to Pretoria. Come on. Really? If any of you have watched The Tipping Point, this is just the big one at the end. You know they've been up the big one. They've just taken that, made it pink. It's very lazy, and it goes ahead of ad fame, because at least they didn't just write text. Next up, Project R. Now, obviously, I don't know why when it upscaled, it's gone to complete shit. But even without that, it's not great, is it? I mean, they've made a bad quality. I can't even understand what that's meant to say. Mainly due to the quality, to be fair, but it's a fine one. To be fair, without that, it probably would go in very good. But, there we go. Next up, we move on to Panani, who have come out with this design. What in the fuck is this? At least it goes. In fact, you know what? At least lava didn't try and turn my eyes into actual bleed. Next up, Ranger, and to be honest, I can't really understand this one. It kind of looks like Meat Boy, but it also colours like Among Us. Also, the Ranger and the Racing are no, they are aligned. Okay, there's this black strap. Nothing to do with how I took it off Google Sheets. It's just a good idea, I think, with a horrible execution. But at least the colours and it are better than Drake, and it doesn't give me OCD like Flatland, so it goes there. Next up, Rotal, and I mean, I don't know how to say what that's going. Although I will put it up here at Advent, because at least they use 3 colours rather than 1. Next up, we move on to Santos, and this is the definition of a great idea with a horrible execution. Now, I'm not sure if the guy who made this used Paint.net. On Paint.net, if you fill in too much, this is what you end up with. Like, the outside of the text is all, like, rough. This, I think, is meant to be a ball, but it doesn't really look like a ball. It looks more like a racing track. Yeah, it's just a good idea, but a really horrible execution. But I can at least put it below Coleworks, because at least there is a good idea. Next up, Shenzhen. This is the definition of lazy, but I at least like the design more than Pretoria, so I'll put it there. It's just the yin and yang with the red and black, to be honest. Moving up, we have my delivery Shrewsbury. Now, this is how you do a logo, right? Because you got the 3 lions. The font I have heard complaints about, but the colours are nice. You've got an identity. It built into the car, albeit the livery was botched. But this is a very, very good logo. But obviously, the text is kind of an issue. I'll put it just below Platinum. Next up, we move on to Stoffel, the penultimate one in the list, and they have come out with this design. To be honest, I'm not really sure why there's a line of cocaine around it, and I'm not really a big fan of the whatever they were trying to do with Stoffel. It doesn't even look like an F on this far out, but it's a fine enough logo. I mean, I'll put it in good idea, bad execution, because I'm not really sure what they were doing, but there we go. And lastly, Tubervian. Now, Tubervian have gone with a French identity, right? So why has their logo got nothing to do with the French flag and a ball on it, which is more to do with Spain? The logo and the livery don't really line up, and that's not really something I'm a huge fan of. I want your logo to link into your livery. You know, for example, Ironside, Viking. That's what you see from Season 2 and Season 3. Shrewsbury, Lion, on the livery. Platinum, you got the light blue. They've got that on the car. Liberté, the French identity. See that on the car. Project R, black and red, on the car. Leckenfrop, there's to do with wolves. That's in their identity. You know, here, it just feels like it's similar to what Cosworks have done, where it's a good logo, but it has fuck all to do with the team. It's a good idea. It's a bad execution, but I do like it slightly more than Cosworks. So that's what we've gone for. Not all of them were flawless. In fact, I'll move Platinum into top tier just so we have one in the top tier. That was the best of that. But that is how I will do this level 8 ranking. And thank you for watching.